Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. I hope your day is going very well. I hope you have already went to the gym and worked out and ate breakfast and you're roaring to go. Morning workout's not for everyone, but it is definitely for me. It gets me going in the morning. Although I'll have to say this week it's been a little hard to get up and get going. Because I've been doing so much work at home, my body's pretty burnt out from muscles. And this week I have a new exercise program, so even more so. It's crazy, very crazy. Anyway, live with Dr. Mom. Welcome, welcome to everyone, wherever you're joining from. Maybe morning, noon, or night, but I'm glad to have you on here. So this is my Moving Forward series, a series that I basically created to do a 21-day challenge, and I'm just got it on here because I think it's an important topic. So I am an entrepreneur. I worked several years at a university as a senior accountant in finance. I am a widow, a mother, a grandmother, good friend, doctor of higher education, and I'm just here in hopes to spread the good word, help anyone I can. It also helps me in more ways than I can even say. I feel it's my destiny, and so here I am every day, 5 days a week with my Moving Forward series, and 2 days a week with, right now, a bodybuilding series and a home remodel project. Moving forward, it will be a Dr. Mom mobile with my new RV. So I'm just about, I don't know, 6 weeks out of it. Okay, so today I thought, I woke up and I'm like, I don't know why I went this direction, but it's part of moving forward is the choices we make. And so I've always wondered, am I in control of my destiny? Or is my higher power in control? Is it an illusion that I actually am in control of my destiny? Or is my higher power, which for me is God, is more in control of my destiny? And I started thinking about it. I used to always say that, control is just an illusion. We just actually don't have control of what happens for us. And then, I don't know, today I started thinking, but we do have choices. The choices we make. Now, I do believe when it is time for us to pass on, that's sort of predetermined, the same as, well, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say our birth, but is that predetermined? I don't know. It's hard to think about all. There's a lot. There is a lot. Things that make you go, I need to do more research. So I thought choices was a good topic for today, right? Because moving forward, the choices we make will either move us forward faster, move us in a weird direction, or move us in the right direction, right? So I think we probably do have more choices than we realize. And honestly, I believe God gave us free will over our lives. So God, or whatever your higher power is, some people of the universe, there's other things that people choose as their higher power. Mine is God. And so I feel like by the choices we make, we also can change our destination. Although I also do believe God does intervene for us if we allow him to. God or your higher power. If we allow him to, if we give him control of our lives and, pretty much say, okay, I'm in your hands, show me the way to move forward, right? But it's still about choices. It's still about the choices we make. And so I thought it would be a really good one to study choices today and how the choices in our lives reflect either if we move forward or 100% how we move forward. Um, Either it's a blessing or not a blessing. Um, but our choices can greatly disrupt our lives as well, and also set us on the right path or set us on a wrong path. I mean, I've made choices in my life that were not very wise at all. I'm very thankful now that I try to be more careful, try to think through my choices. And a lot of that is because of my three principles of living, excuse me, which I believe are a solid foundation, goal setting, and professional development. Those things I've lived my life by and have helped me immensely with the choices I make. And and whether I move forward in a positive or a negative way. So that's what we're talking about today, choices. Um, what are the choices that you're making on a daily basis? And it does go. I mean, and that has a lot to do with our foundation and our goal setting and professional development. If we choose today to get up first thing in the morning, read our morning devotions, study on whatever it is that you study for your foundation. Mine is the Bible, mine is my daily devotion. I try to study things that are helping me move forward in my career. That's more on self-development or professional development. And then my choices on goals. Every day I have certain goals set up with my bodybuilding and the way I eat, whether I drink alcohol or not, what I do on my house remodel project, what I watch for professional development, whether I'm reading a book right now to help me develop where I'm going. I find that every day, because I've just made choices to step out what I believe is my destiny, sorry, um, with Dr. Mom and moving forward and being on here with all of you. I decided to do a semi-retire at the university and get on here and move forward with all of you. And so that choice changed my path completely, but it also enriched my life completely. So I felt like it was the right thing to do. So it also, in making that choice, it also changed my goals. It, not so much my foundation. My foundation, I think because I had a solid foundation, I have one, and I'm always trying to stay in touch with what my higher power wants me to do. I feel like I made the right decision, although it was still a scary decision. And then it definitely changed some of my goals. It made some of them a little more stressful. So one of them is doing a bodybuilding competition. And because of the choices I've made and where I'm going in my life, it's going to make it a little harder to work out and stay with a trainer. I'm going to be mobile. So it's going to be, that part may be a little bit harder. But on the flip side, maybe I'm going to run into some dynamic people I get to work out with, my son who bodybuilds. You know, maybe it actually is going to make it easier. So I don't know, when your future is a little bit unknown, you're like, okay, so the choices I made is changing my future completely, which sometimes brings anxiety and things like that, right? But I'm getting through it. And with each day, I feel strengthened. But there's some days I also kind of want, oh, I'm just wanting to get this done. So that's where I'm heading today. What choices are you making? Sometimes on a moment's notice, right? Sometimes on a moment's notice, the choices you make can change you profoundly. Um, so hopefully you have your 3 principles set up so that when you do make your choices, you know you're heading in the right direction. And you're going to know fairly quick, right? Especially if it's a big change like what I'm going through right now. You're going to know because you'll be more comfortable. And I'm becoming more and more comfortable by the day. So with that, make sure you subscribe and like and ring the bell, and please give me comments. What would you like me to research? What can I talk about? I've had a lot of experience in different areas. Is there an area, maybe there's an area you're stuck in and you can't figure out how to get out of it or move forward? I would love to help you do research. So drop me a line or just listen. I'll be here every day, 5 days a week. Well, more like 7, 6, sometimes just 6. Okay, with that, I'm going to get on to our quotes for the day because that's my thing. That and, I did want to read real quick my favorite one of all time, because first of all, I love comedies. I love cartoons. I always have. It's just sort of my nature. I love watching the cartoons with the kids. I love all the cartoon type shows. And this one happens to be my favorite. And it is the Robinsons back. I don't, any of you that remember that show, it stuck with me from then forward. And I just wanted to say this is a lot of my moving forwards. It is around here, however, we don't look backwards for very long. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors and doing new things because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. And that's Walt Disney. I have always loved that quote. It's so me, open up new doors and doing new things. To me, it's adventure. So I'm all about adventure. I love new ideas and things like that. So that's my moving forward quote. This one's good too. This one, there's a lot of quotes on choices, tons. This one is the 5 W's of life. And I don't see that's more of an anonymous. I don't see just who that is. So who you are is what makes you special. Do not change for anyone. What lies ahead will always be a mystery. Do not be afraid to explore. When life pushes you over, you push back harder. Where there are choices to make the one you won't regret. Why things happen will never be certain. Take it in stride and move forward. I like those too. Those were kind of fun choices today. And they're going right along with what we're talking about, right? The choices you make. The choices you make. And at first I was like, are we in control or is it actually an illusion? Or is God actually sort of predestined our path? I think we have more choices. I think we have more control of our lives than we realize by the choices we make. And that reminds me, so in my, just reading through the Bible, there's certain places in there where I see that people, and that's how I get to know my God, my higher power, is through the Bible. And although the Bible, I think it's a spiritual entity and it's good for us, it's not just for Christians. And even if you don't look at it as you know, God or Christ or any of those things. It's a historical book. And I've never read anything in there that hasn't helped me in some scenario or another. So don't think of it as a religious book. Think of it as a historical book with great life lessons, that's what I get from it. And also, if you find it difficult to read, because it can, like I finally graduated to a bigger Bible that my daughter got me, and it's really cool because it sort of gives history of the Bible in the underneath part, and really cool things that you wouldn't think about normally, about like if something's going on in battle, sort of what they did in those times. It's just a really cool book. It's a ESV study Bible, and I just love it. But what I'm saying is I graduated to that one. When I first met my in-laws, who are my father-in-law is a reverend and has been for many years, him and his wife. Um, um, when I first met him, I didn't know anything about Christianity. And I'll tell you what, the choices I made were not the best for me. And I'd go in circles. I had no really strong spiritual foundation at all. Although I was always pretty goal oriented, I don't know that I made the right choices, which affected my goals, right? Um, and I always was about professional development and leadership and things, but without that foundation piece, boy, I put myself in a lot of really bad situations, and it affected my life. The whole still some of the choices I made then has affected my life today profoundly. And so that's what I'm saying. The choices we make can bring us closer to our destiny, bring us closer to where our higher power wants us to be, or it can pull us away from it and profoundly affect us. Okay, so the next quote I have is, life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. That's John C. Maxwell. The content of your character is your choice. I like that one. The content of your character is your choice. Day by day, what you choose, what you think, and what you do is who you become. That's Heraclitus. Heraclitus. May your choices reflect your hope, not your fears. That's Nelson Mandela. That's the first one I read. And then I do have one more. I know I got a lot of quotes today. Choice is the most powerful tool we have. Everything boils down to choice. Every choice we make shuts an infinite number of doors and opens an infinite number of doors. At any point, we can change the direction of our lives by a simple choice. It's all in our hands, our hearts, and our minds. I thought that was really good too. I think that really goes to say how profoundly one single choice, and it might not even be a big one, but a single choice may change the rest of our lives. It may affect us good or bad depending on what kind of choice we make, right? So I think it's important to think through the choices we make. And that's why I feel like having a strong foundation is important, because you have to really maybe take your time when you're making bigger choices. It could be marriage or moving or a new job, or honestly, there's so many big choices in our life, right, that can profoundly affect you. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, thinking about the Bible, what are some stories that kind of lead me to believe that we have more to do with our destiny than we realize. Because at first I'm like, oh, we don't really have that much to do with it. But looking, what I'm reminded of is the story of Moses, right? And you know how God had promises he had promised he's gonna, and I am not I'm not a pastor. I translate the Bible very roughly because I'm not a professional at it. So I did look up some scripture. Hopefully I'm saying this right. Don't judge me. What it reminds me of is when, you know, Moses, so God said, I'm going to set my people free. Moses went through, and he believed, but he didn't for the longest time. Like some of his choices came difficult for him to make. So when he finally got on board and he led his people to, you know, to where they were at, I believe it's Mount Sinai, you know, and God had fulfilled his promises, right? He said, I'm going to set him free. So now Moses is leading them. They've traveled through the desert. They've seen the Red Sea open up and swallow the army of the pharaohs, right? So they've seen all this. They get to Mount Sinai. Moses leaves, goes up to be with God, right? And God gives them the 10 Commandments. Well, in the meantime, while Moses is up with God, I mean, that's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. While he was gone, up with God, the people made a choice to party. And I don't think it was a little bit of partying, it was some big time partying. And look, it probably would have been, I think some of Moses's commanders or second in command stayed there and were with the people, but I don't know that they could control them. I mean, so because of the choices they made, God was pretty pissed at them, right? And so because of that, there was some more laws. I mean, when Moses came down, he was pretty angry about it, and it hadn't been that long. Like so, I did write. So that's in Exodus. Let's see, Exodus 34, 6-7, when he does the 10 Commandments, and it also says. So in Exodus 32-34. Now, if I'm not mistaken, God had promised them certain lands, and I think because of their rebellious, they didn't get to go all the way into it, but I could be wrong there, sorry. But this is one of the commands that I got from that, that God is slow to anger, he maintains loyal love, but he also brings inequities to generations. So because of your choices, because of the things you do, your generations, I think it said second and third or third and fourth generations, can be affected by what you do. By the choices you make, your generations can be affected by. Now, I also believe that by the choices you make, when you're moving forward, when you're building strong foundations, when you're goal setting, when you're doing professional development, that can also bring blessings to your generations. And that's what I've always strived for by having these three principles, is I believe that by bettering ourselves, we can bring blessings to our generations. And that's what I believe as well. However, your choices can also bring inequity to your generations by the choices you make. And when I was, you know, I went back and forth over a couple things for my own life. And I thought about it today, and by the choices you make, right? So because I'm widowed, and I have been for a while now, 5.5 years or so, oftentimes it's kind of hard. It gets kind of lonely. And I make a decision maybe to go out for a drink or something. and to meet people, things like that. Um, but those choices can affect you depending on if you go out and have, like, I have to be very super careful because of the diet that I'm on. I can't handle alcohol or prescriptions or like anesthetic, any of that. When they put me under, I had to be super careful because you can call me lightweight. I don't know what it is. So I have to be super careful if I do go out and drink, right? And so I just choose not to because there's been a couple of times I did and I shouldn't have drove and I did anyway. And I was like, that was stupid. So it reminds me of one time here where one of our friends who rides bike was riding up a hill. It's been a couple years ago, and I don't know for sure, but somebody was driving and hit her on the side of the road and knocked her off her bike. And then, unfortunately, no one knew where she was, and she passed away. Young girl, I think she was 40. Now, this gentleman, I think it was a gentleman, I think it was a man. I'm just guessing he may not even known because he was, I don't know. I don't know the whole story. It's probably hasn't went through the court system yet. But it's a possibility he had been drinking and didn't even know he hit her, right? It was a hit and run. It was closer towards night. So they did find him within a week and arrested him. But, look at how profoundly those choices made on a lot of people's lives. Tons. So I was just thinking how important it is to make correct choices each and every day, whether they're the little ones like, okay, it's morning, I have a bodybuilding training to go to. I could stay home and sleep in, or I can go to the gym. And those choices directly affect our physical well-being, in my opinion. If we eat right, if we exercise on a very consistent basis, it will lead to a longer life. I believe that. And so although it seems like a small decision, I could probably get away with it one day, but then if I change my routine too much, I'll end up not wanting to go the rest of the week. So those are small. I feel like it's a small decision, but it also can affect you big. So I just think making choices can change us profoundly, or it can set us on the right path. So that's kind of my take on it. This is an article, let's see, the choices we make shape our experience in life, which I think is very true too. Because if we don't, sometimes if you're stuck in this place, you've been at work, you are working, or maybe even, I don't know, with today's times, there's not as many jobs. So maybe it's been hard to find work. I mean, I've been there too. This has been several years ago, before I was at the university. I remember I had been out of work and I had 2 bachelor's degrees. And so, when you do that, you think, oh, I'm going to find a job right away. That's not how it went. So I got my resume ready to go, it's all set. I was so excited. I finished my schooling. Now I'm going to go to work at a great job. And I had to end up, I wasn't finding anything, so I had to end up going to a part-time personnel where they hire you out part-time. So I started doing that. I thought about, doing my own business consulting. But, I really had to get back to work. My kids were still at home and, just start bringing in money again. Actually went 9 months and I was putting resumes in everywhere, everywhere. And that was back then. That was about 14 years ago. I mean, I can't imagine today's society, how hard with all the COVID and the businesses. I mean, it's a rough time. So maybe you're in a place where you just don't know what to do anymore. I remember not, I just wasn't getting anything. I was not getting anything. I went to a lot of interviews. It just seems like I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I remember I finally went to the store and I bought my going back to work purse. Don't ask me if it made me feel more attractive, if it changed the level playing field for me. But for whatever reason, I decided this was it. I was going to get this purse and it was going to get me my job. Well, I did get hired at the university shortly after that. So for whatever reason, it gave me that final push to get the job. So sometimes moving forward is small choices like buying a purse to help you get over the edge. But it does shape our experience in life as well. So many of us suffer from poor decision making or make choices without fully considering or realizing the consequences. So some of us were never mentored on how to make choices, and that's so true. I mean, I was like that. I think I had the basics. My parents were great. They had outstanding work ethics. I've always had that my whole life. I know how to get working. But I did make some poor decisions early on in my life, even later on in my life. Sometimes it feels difficult to choose since there's often an invisible tug of war between saying yes to one thing, which inevitably means saying no to another, right? When we are caught in an internal conflict over which way to choose, we can feel overwhelmed. This can have a paralyzing effect upon our necessary action. When we succumb to indecision, even in our indecisiveness, we are making a choice. To stay neutral, I think. The main issue with decisions is that we know at our core we cannot have it all. It's an impossible goal to achieve, and thinking that we can have it all puts more stress and strain upon us. To think we can have everything we want in a world is a worldview wrought with suffering. The deeper truth is we can have anything we want, just not everything we want. And there lies the rub of being at choice in any given moment. That makes me think about when I had to make a decision when I was at the university, and I wasn't making the most money of what I wanted to make, but I was comfortable. I have a nice house and a couple of cars paid off, and 401k and all of those things. And so I could have easily had everything I want if I would have stayed there and then worked at this part, but I was so unhappy. So I had to make a decision. Today I am what I am because of yesterday's choices, and where I shall be tomorrow will be decided today. It's an unknown author. That's what I mean. So I am so much happier, although it was a scary and vulnerable thing to do, but those choices, I believe, are leading me to my destiny. And that's why I'm on here right now, is because this is where I'm being called to go. Unexamined choices or going with an emotional state is a recipe for cultivating a life of pain. We can't move through life thinking that the fulfillment of desire is going to also equal a deeply satisfying life experience. So early on in my life, I remember some of the jobs I had. There was sometimes I just completely walked out. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore, without pre-planning it. Was that right or wrong? I don't know. It led to better things, but it's better if you can plan it out like I did this time. It was difficult, I'll be honest. I was sort of over the job several years ago, but I did plan it out this time so that everything would move in a I feel like in a calculated, intelligent decision. And if it wasn't for where I'm at because of all of my training with foundation work and goal setting and self development, I don't think I would have made the right decisions. So I'm much better at planning things out and not acting out of emotion. And I think that's a lot of learning, having your foundation in place, is thinking through things, your emotional intelligence and all of those things, doing it with a well planned out strategy. So let's see. Our experience of life today, this day, right now, is the sum total of all the decisions we've made up until this point. That's what I mean. Even decisions that I made when I was 20 still affect me at my age today. So even small decisions, big decisions in general affect you later on in life. So think through them. Other people's decisions have a consequence that we experience as well. This is the pain and imperfection of our human condition. We are free to choose, but we are not free from the consequences of our choice. That's Stephen Covey. All of us are connected and interconnected. Every decision we make shapes our experience, and as we are not islands unto ourselves, our decisions affect others as well. So my decision to leave the university also affects the position I leave behind because they got to fill it, which I think they're going to be better off because honestly, I don't feel like I was contributing like I should have been contributing. And I want them to have someone who's excited like I was when I first got there. I was excited for the position. I felt like it wasn't right for me to, and honestly, do I want to say happiness? Your happiness or what you bring to a work environment affects everyone around you. And I was not happy and I was not bringing a good energy. So I needed to remove it so that they could get someone with some good energy again. I think that's also our responsibility, is to know when it's time to move on, to move forward. It's time. Our life experience, health, happiness, peace, weight, education, career success is determined by choices. Even indecision, like we mentioned, is a decision. How do we make the best choice in the moment? Refrain from putting trust in wants or desires. Wanting something doesn't mean it's good for us. Kids want candy for breakfast, and we might want a soda instead of water. But wants do not equal supporting our highest. Knowing what we value most and knowing what our top priorities are, these will bring us to our best answers. Choose wisely. Just the thought, I thought of some things because I'm doing bodybuilding and I have a pretty strict diet. I have to be careful of everything I'm putting in my body, lots of water, things like that. Every once in a while, especially on Friday, like I feel like sometimes I'll be at the store, I'm like, just get a bottle of wine, take it home, have it. But I know myself, and for one thing, I do keto, and so I don't have sugar at all. I just refrain from, because my body doesn't work well on it. So if I started drinking just a little, I would tell myself, well, you're just gonna have a little bit. If I started on it, like the sugar would hit my system, and then my body would start going, ooh, let's have more. And before you know it, I'd drink the whole, even though I said I'd have one, I'd drink because that sugar just kicks into my system. So I know that. So when I see it, I'm like, no, I know myself well enough to know. And so it's not a bad thing. I'm at my house. But then the next day I would wake up with a headache and a migraine because I'm allergic to it and my body's not used to it. I wouldn't get anything done for the whole day. Why do I? And it makes me gain, like for some reason when I get sugar or glucose in my body, I gain I can gain 9 pounds in a weekend. Just, I believe it's something to do with, must be the sugar content causes me to have inflation in water. I don't know. I can lose it again, but why do I want to keep doing that? Why do I want to do that? I'm doing really well. So I'm telling you, because I have to fight myself sometimes. Um, these little decisions or choices are hard at times for all of us. I think we all have. I mean, I love chips too, but I got to make that decision too, not to do. Dang it. How do we make the best choice of the moment? Refrain from putting trust in wants or desires. Wanting something doesn't mean it's good for us, right? I just read that. So here's some tips on making better decisions. Um, Number one, choose based upon consequences. That's what I was just saying. I had to weigh out, and sometimes I go like in the store when they have, and they love to put these items out on the aisles where you're just tempted, the chips and all those things, ice creams. I remember, I think I was in Home Depot a couple days ago, and they had these yummy peanut butter cookies sitting on the end aisle. You know, where you're checking out right there, and I hadn't had any breakfast. And I'm telling you, I almost reached for them, but it has sugar in it. Why? I don't want to sabotage what I'm doing. But boy, did I want! I can honestly taste. I love those. I love peanut butter cookies. Oh, number two is avoid seeking perfection in the choice itself. Three is remember to avoid inaction through overanalysis. Four, base your decision upon what is unchanging and not upon emotions, desires, or wants that are always changing. And I'll go over a little bit more of that. So choose based upon consequences. Look at the possible outcomes and work backward. Do you like what you see? That's what I mean when I do that. Probably I go to the store usually on Sunday, which is good because, but if I went on Friday, ooh, for some reason I am pretty strict. You know, I get through the week and then I'm like, ooh, just cheat a little bit. But yeah, I'm telling you, if I do that, it like takes me back. It takes me a whole week to get back in sync again. And I've just been doing, it reminds me of that old adage from AA where it says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? Absolutely. Crazy. Okay, avoid seeking perfection in the choice itself. Instead, look for the perfection of a goal in the inevitable consequences of your decision. And that's exactly what I was saying. I tried to look and say, but if you do this, it's going to take you 2 weeks to get back to where you were. You're not perfect. Neither is anything else in this world. So why do we seek perfection in the choices we make? How often do we get caught by fear or overwhelmed because we are afraid of imperfect decisions? Be clear about your purpose, your values, and your priorities, and you'll find greater clarity around what to choose that will draw you closer to what you hold highest and dearest. I also was thinking through a lot of it. is self-development. I think that's the self-development piece. And I'm trying to do this. So one of the books I read was called Untethered Soul. And it's sort of the thoughts, the negative thoughts that you have. So you learn how to let them go. But one thing I'm working on right now is meditation. And I think I don't know if I put the, oh, I don't even know where my phone is right now for some reason. But I did just get an app where it teaches you how to meditate. And I believe, I feel like if we will learn how to do that, and I honestly think that if we get to a point where we're mindful of our body, we do enough meditation and things like that, that it will calm us inside and we won't need maybe those, I'm hoping, maybe those kinds of decisions will get easier. Maybe we can teach ourselves some good emotional intelligence skills so that when those kinds of diversions or choices present themselves, we have some good tools to use so that it doesn't overwhelm us, right? Doesn't take us over. Remember to avoid an action through overanalysis. Every heard of paralysis by have you ever heard of paralysis by analysis? Now, I'm not so much like that. While it takes a lot of sense to look at the numbers and make informed decisions, getting stuck in the minutia of the details can lead to a lot of time wasted in decision-making process. So I think there's a little, you want some of both. My husband was super great at analysis. He was always very good at looking at everything and making decisions. I'm more of a quick decision maker. So I don't often research some things, and that may not be good. So one of the, I'm going to just tell you, one of the things that I made a poor decision on was my refrigerator. So because I think Samsung is the best, and I thought, oh, how cool. They're going to be made really well. So I got a new gas stove, a refrigerator, and a dishwasher all in the same package. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be super great. It costs a little more because of the brand, because I love the TVs they make. And, I thought, well, they're going to be on top of it. Well, it turns out the refrigerator, for the most part, is good, but the ice maker has been giving me problems. And it's because if I would have, so I didn't research it until after I started realizing the ice maker was having problems. Now you can repair it. It's not horribly bad, but this is right after I bought it. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, there was a lawsuit on it. And the company wasn't even taking care of the people. So I should have looked more into products. Look more into products before you buy them. Often our research analysis is cleverly disguised as procrastination, and that's true. If you're caught in doing your due diligence, make sure you don't stay there so you don't have to make a choice. Procrastination is a choice as well. I agree with that. I think I am okay to procrastinate a little more because I make decisions very quickly. Base your decision upon what is unchanging and not your emotions, desires, or wants that are always changing. Look deeper to a more trustworthy source, your gut. That still small voice that makes you uncomfortable when your wants and desires start pitching temper tantrums because they want something. One telltale sign that your emotions are taking over is if you're looking for validation or permission from others. Misery loves company. Is not wisdom speaking? If you're looking outside of yourself for direction, you're not trusting yourself, and possibly it's because you're not listening to the wise self, or you don't want to listen to the no answer your gut is giving you. Desire argues with you, wants are adverse to delayed gratification. The truth is, if you're in alignment with your own integrity, Your choices become easier, and you won't need to seek out what other people think because you will already be resolved in doing what you know is your best decision for your own integrity. Reading through that, I also think if we're well in tune, if we've got our foundation set up, if we have our goals in mind, and then if we also are doing self-development, I think all of those things, if you're really in tune with all of that, you're going to be making the right decisions because we've done all the pre-work. And I did one video on here where I was talking about how sometimes your goals, you set your goals, you set your daily goals, your weekly, your monthly, your yearly, 5-year, you set them up, but sometimes they're a little bit on the liquid side because this is one of the things. So my home remodel project, I was sort of had a goal to be done the end of April so I could list it, get it sold, get into my RV, start traveling, right? But I just had my countertop person in, and he said 4 weeks out before they even bring it in. So that's going to put me into May. So I have to be able to make some adjustments. Now, he did say they were going to call me and talk it over with me. I said, well, can I beg and plead at that time? He said, yes, but it's just, I feel like with COVID, everything is, stuff that used to take a week is taking 3 weeks. My cabinets took 2 months. I mean, it's just the way of the time. So what do, right? What do you do? Embrace and accept that consequences are a natural outcome of choice. Give yourself some margin for error. Mistakes are a part of human experience. I like to think I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. This means I'm having an experience of imperfection. Forgiveness is as important to offer ourselves as it is to offer others. Redemption comes when we apply compassion to our human condition and realize that in every moment we are all in the process of learning. And that's so true. It seems like even with I feel like I've been working on myself and my moving forward principles, foundation, goal setting, self-development. It's kind of helped me to make more rational decisions and slowed me down and things like that. And being mindful of the present moment is really important, I believe. So I think you can develop more of a good in between. You're not procrastinating, but you're making decisions that you need to move forward. So everything in your life is a reflection of a choice you have made. If you want a different result, make a different choice. That's an unknown author as well. Our life comprises of the choices that we make every single minute of our existence. Whether to drink coffee or tea, to take white sugar or brown, or no sugar, to go for a jog or stay at home eating parathas for breakfast, it's your choice. You decide which shirt you will wear today, what you talk, how you react, which path you select in your career, whom you will marry, or nothing but your choices that you made either on your own accord or by someone's influence. Your life so far consists of all the choices you made in the past. And your future, no doubt, depends on all the decisions you will take from now on. Choices we make and path we take create our lives. We make a large amount of decisions, make choices at every step in our journey. Sometimes we celebrate these choices. Sometimes we bear the consequences of these decisions. Refrigerator. But in each case, it's always us who are responsible for these choices. So true, So you move forward and you figure out how to fix it. And I learned. So I think this add-on, you learn from your choices. So now I have learned to try and research more than just jumping into it. Whether we take responsibilities of our choices or not, these choices shape up our life. It makes us different from our peers. It makes us who we are today and what results we are seeing in our life. Many times people make some choices as they made in past, but still expect to get better results. How can one justify it? To get better results, you have to make better choices. If you want to be healthy, but you keep on eating things you were eating 1 year back, how can you envision to change anything? Your results are the outcome of choices that you make every day. So to improve your results, change your choices, take better decisions. Just thinking of that, I was just remembering like when I've probably been doing keto for over a year now. And at first, like there was a time I could not imagine never having, like not even having sugar in the house. I don't even have it in my house. Never having bread, never eating chips. I don't have cheese. I haven't had French fries in forever. Just those decisions. And honestly, it took me a whole year to completely kick all of that out of my house. But now, like back then, I would have not imagined being able to do it. Now I can't imagine going back because my body is so healthy. Like I feel so good. Um, I've lost the weight I wanted to lose. I'm working on a bodybuilding competition because of the weight I lost, because I can actually see my muscles. So sometimes our choices are wrong and we realize it way too late to make any change. But instead of worrying too much about those choices and feeling miserable about it, it's always better to move on. Past and unaltered choices you made in the past cannot be changed, but it can teach you lessons to make better choices in the future. And that's what I mean. There were times when I made the decision to go out on a Friday night and have something to eat and drink. And because of that choice, then I gained 5 or 10 pounds over the weekend. And it took me a month to get it off again. So I learned from that. Choices are the foundation of your life, and wrong choices are part of a learning cycle. It makes you human. So that's good to know, right? The only thing that you can do is make better choices in future by taking conscious decisions and taking full responsibility of your choices. Remember, what choices you make is completely in your control. It has always been and will always be that way. So although I feel like, I believe that the choices, because we have a free will, so God has given us the right to make our own choices. We have free will, just like Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden. They made they made the wrong decision, and has some pretty consequential things that happened because of it. And all of the generations have went through that. Women in childbirth have pain. Um, so we're not alone. We aren't the only ones that make poor choices at times. So forgive yourself, I guess, but learn from it. Can we learn from it? We've all got both light and dark inside of us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are. That's J.K. Rowling. That's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I absolutely love that movie too. I've always been into those kinds of movies and books. I started reading the Harry Potter books when my son was in, oh my goodness, he must have been in second grade, because he had to read them for school. And so they had points on how much they got more points for the bigger books. So we got the bigger ones and read them and we were hooked. So that's super good. Super good. So make sure you make the right decisions, make the right choices on a daily basis, because it can profoundly impact your life, or it can maybe impact your life a little bit, especially with your health and fitness. It's so important to make the right decisions. And maybe at first you won't notice much, but I think if COVID has anything to do with it, you're going to gain 20 pounds over it, right? I was so incredibly lucky to find my Code Red plan during COVID. It was right in April when COVID all hit. And instead of losing or gaining the 20 pound, the COVID 20, I lost 35. So I was so incredibly blessed that was happening. And it's changed my life profoundly. Like I know I don't worry anymore about gaining weight back. I know I can maintain this. I'm full all the time. I'm not hungry. It's the keto. So anyhow, I think that's all I had today. Oh goodness, what do I have for today is the 13th. This is our devotion. When I give you no special guidance, stay where you are. Concentrate on doing your everyday tasks in awareness of my presence with you. The joy of my presence will shine on you as you do everything for me. Thus you invite me into every aspect of your life. Through collaborating with me in all things, you allow my life to merge with yours. This is a secret of not only joyfully living, but of victorious living. I design you to depend on me moment by moment, recognizing that apart from me, you can do nothing. Be thankful for quiet days, but when nothing special seems to be happening. Instead of being bored by the lack of action, use times of routine to seek my face. Although this is an invisible transaction, it speaks volumes in spiritual realms. Moreover, you are richly blessed when you walk trustingly with me through the routines of your day. Colossians 3:23, John 15:5, and Psalms 105:4. I love Psalms. Psalms and Proverbs, they're just good. So good to live by. Like you could go through any of those in Proverbs and just, even if you're not a Christian, it's just a great book that gives you smart advice. How can you go wrong with that, right? Okay, it's Tuesday. Sunny outside but cold here. We're already into April. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So with that, my friends, my blessings go out to you. Much love. Have a beautiful day. Make good choices today and tomorrow and the next day. We're not going to be perfect, but we can think through our choices before we make them. And then we'll know whether they're our higher powers will or not, right? That's what I did. Like I've been making some pretty big choices, but it's over a period of time. And I'm just sort of watching to see if these are the right decisions, and they seem to be. So think through them. Much love. Have a beautiful day.